site. So Sheila and I trained as sculptors at the Royal College and Norwich School of Art, but we still teach today. We're still going to schools and do inset and run workshops, and lots of our practice is represented on AccessArt. But the main way we achieve that aim is through the website. So for those of you that haven't seen it, the AccessArt website is this evolving collection of resources which basically share artist-led or artist-inspired teaching practice to our wide audience. So I can see that some of these figures might seem quite small to you if you're from the Tate or from organisations, but to us, to a small arts organisation, we're incredibly proud of these figures. So at the moment, about 65,000 unique users visit the site every year, and 8,000 of those have subscribed. They've put their email address in, they want more information. And the thing we're most proud of is our members now. So about 2 years ago, 2011, we decided to forget arts funding. We just thought we don't want to be at the beck and call of kind of up and down arts funding anymore. So we became a membership organisation. So now I think it's a real testimony to the strength of the content on AccessArt that people will now pay to access it. So this 800 members out of the 8,000 subscribers is really, really high as a paid membership rate. So the 10% is really, really good. I think the Times newspaper and organisations like that, they'll look at a kind of 1.5 to 2.5 rate. So something's happening with AccessArt. People do want to pay for content. They want to be part of it. I think it's really important to say that for Sheila and I, the web is our medium. When we set AccessArt up in 1999, we didn't just set an organisation up and then decide we need a website. We looked at the internet as it was evolving and realised it was a tool for visual communication for artists and for artist-led education. So the website, in a sense, for us came first, and then we realised we could share our practice by it. So we now actually think through the web or through the digital technology. So when we're planning projects, we do so via the website. And we do that either via calls out to our 8,000 subscribers. So we'll literally think of project ideas and test it by sending it out and see if we get a response. And we'll also use we use WordPress for the back end of the website. We'll actually use WordPress to help us think through projects. So it's really important to say that, that's how we think now. So there's two questions that I'd like to sort of address in this presentation. The first one, what does using digital technology enable us to do? Why do we even bother? And the second one, what actually enables us to use digital technology? So we'll come on to the second one later, but in terms of the first question, I think a good analogy is to talk a little bit about an organisation before AccessArt that Sheila and I set up called Cambridge Sculpture Workshops. And Cambridge Sculpture Workshops was an artist in education type organisation. There were just the two of us as artists going into schools in Cambridge and Cambridgeshire. We'd worked with the Fitzwilliam and Kettle's Yard, and it was a very typical artist in education type organisation. And it was great. We loved it. We really valued what we did. We knew that when we went into schools, we had a great impact. But looking back, I was trying to think of an analogy for it, and it was almost like it was a treasure box, but it was a closed treasure box. So if you were in that box, it was fantastic. You had a great experience, but it was contained. It had a wall around it. We had a wall around it. We could only travel so far. We only had so many children in the class. Only so many schools could afford to have us in. We could only project rows so far. So it was a contained treasure box. And if we fast forward now to AccessArt now, 19 years on from there, AccessArt's like Cambridge Sculpture Workshops, but on acid or given oxygen. It's just become permeable now. So if we look at our last online learning course we did, we had 80 people on an online learning course whereby we provided very simple technology. We provided videos and online resources, and then people could load their work up for feedback from ourselves and from peers on the course. We looked at the geographical spread of that, and it was incredible. We had, say, 30% of participants were in England, and then a smattering in Europe. And looking at the Google map, you'd see them come in and come online from America and Australia, and then there'd be somebody in Mozambique, and it was incredible. And it really illustrated, I think, why we bother with digital technology. It's all about sharing and connecting. So everything we do is about reaching out, sharing and connecting. And Sheila will talk a little while about how it's become a really holistic process. We've honed down over the years what we do and how we do it, and it feels now like a well thought through process. So whenever we launch something, an online resource, we're always trying to encourage our audience to feed back to us by all the usual methods. There's nothing high-tech about what we do. It's just about being rigorous in doing it every time, you know, the Twitter and the Facebook and all those things. So it's always about sharing and connecting. It's always about getting more back. And it's in collaboration all the time. It's really, really important to us that this digital technology is about sharing. And we've put there the people that we share with, so with the children, the young people, the learners, facilitators, artists, teacher. And it's really important that for us there's no hierarchy there, and that digital technology is this great enabler that puts the child, just as much in the forefront as the learner or the teacher. So I just want to give a very quick overview of current projects. So we really try and balance things on AccessArt. We know that artists are really, really important for us. What we try and do is share artist-led or artist-inspired teaching. And we spent a long time trying to get artists to share their content and to try and lead by example through sharing our own teaching and learning. But I think we've sort of realised in the past few years, actually, we've got to give artists more than that. They might not always want to share. They might not feel comfortable with sharing, more so now, but it took a lot of time to get there. So what we're trying to do at the moment is give artists and educators, whether they're artists working in a freelance basis or tied to a museum and gallery, a kind of platform where they can talk about their own work. So we've got a few different initiatives on the go, all in early stages, all just, we think of an idea, we test it, send it out there, see how it goes. One of them, I Am AccessArt, where we take an artist and they create a couple of posts for us and we put them on the front page of AccessArt, and we basically give them our mailing list, not literally, but we send out, we say, here's Tracy McGuinness, this is what she's doing, this is the fantastic work. We launched the AccessArt Stars a few months ago. Again, it was almost a joke, but we thought we need to recognise, we need to celebrate all this kind of great work that's going on in education. So how can we do that? So we started, I think it's because we've got children at school that kept getting merits home and things like that, and we thought we need stars as adults. So we started sending out stars by email, saying, look, we really appreciate what you're doing, and then putting a little profile of them on the AccessArt site. And then sending that out and saying, Sue Grayson Ford's our latest star, and also, an artist you've never heard of, Tracy McGuinness, is also, an AccessArt star. But what that did was really crucial. It started to feed that relationship. You do something for somebody else, and of course they do something for you, so they get back in touch, they want to write another post. And again, it's all part of this cyclical process. The online collection of resources is a mainstay of AccessArt. It's what we do. So AccessArt is always all about activities that take place in the real world, whether they take place in galleries, museums, schools. If the teaching's successful, then why not share it? Why not try and raise the quality of the arts teaching out there? So this online collection of resources is growing all the time. At the moment, our big project, it's our first funding bid that we put in for, and we were successful since we became a membership organisation. We got some ACE funding for our 40 Artists project, which is basically to celebrate and flag up the amazing work that artist educators are doing in England at the moment. So again, we'll be featuring 40 artist educators. We've had a great response from that, from museums and galleries as well as individuals. And just to reiterate this circular process, so every time any of that happens, somebody has a star, somebody is I Am AccessArt, somebody creates a resource for us. Everything's always fed back and marketed, on an ongoing basis by Facebook, by Twitter. It's relentless. The speed of working's changed. It's become, instead of marketing being a process where you work slowly towards a leaflet, for AccessArt it's not that anymore. It's just a continuous dribble, a feed. And if you stop, they stop visiting, so we have to keep going. So Sheila's going to talk a little bit about how AccessArt is a holistic process, and we've only got a few minutes. Sorry, Sheila.
Hello. How long do I have? 1 minute. Thank you, Paula. I just want to say one thing I just thought of, which hasn't been mentioned. Yeah, I'm a lot taller than Paula. We have been working 20 years, by the way, if that was a question anybody asked, since we were at the Royal College doing sculpture. And one thing that I did think when Paula was talking, actually what you might want to know is that Paula has built AccessArt. I mean, it's not that we have a digital person over there in another room doing it. It's always evolved, and AccessArt has looked very different over the years and is about to look different again, because Paula's now building a responsive site, so it will be fine on iPads and all that stuff. So all I'm saying is you have to be adaptable. You have to keep changing your mindset. You can't be stuck down one route. You have to be happy to say, forget it, we'll do it another way. And that flexibility is crucial to I think, the questions which have been brought up today. That's not what I was going to talk about. Just this thing about sharing. Rebecca, the first word today was sharing. And this is a photograph of one of the workshops which Paula led, and it was when we changed again and again and again. And it was when she wrote her first post. So we'd gone from sort of online, flash style, flash embedded, whatever, resources to these posts, which were basically, AccessArt became a blogging type place. And I remember seeing the first post. It was Paula had done a drawing session with the 6 to 8-year-olds, because we're still practicing artists, we're still teaching about creativity. That's what it's all about. And she did her first post, and it was the photographs of the session she'd done the day before. We've always done sessions, and it was moving, it was touching. It was like, this is generosity, this is sharing content in a way I'd never seen before. This is about sharing. An artist takes an idea and says, you can have it, it's yours for free, I'm giving it to you, an idea. And that's what Paula did, and I looked at that and it was touching. And quickly, I'm the one who blew her. So this idea of sharing, I think, is the absolutely essential, important. And this is one of the I Am AccessArt artists, which is another project we have running, where an artist can say, I buy into AccessArt, I buy into the idea of sharing my practice, and they do a little bit about themselves, their practice, how they approach art, and then they give maybe an exercise for children or teenagers to do. And this artist, Sue Goff, did the most touching, beautiful, again, sharing of her work, and then offered this exercise. And I was so touched with it. I'd never heard the word asemic before, which is the writing you do as a child, before you form words, the asemic writing. It might be something you will know about, but which doesn't look like letters. 2 minutes. Anyway, I was touched by this word, took it into my own practice, taught my teenagers. They did this incredible asemic writing, posted it, and then Sue got all the comments from. So then she saw how this work had been interpreted, and then she commented on the students' work, and so on. So it becomes a cycle of feeding. Everybody is a winner when you share. Everybody is going to get that content. Everybody is going to benefit, from the artist to whoever. And that was pretty much what I was going to say.
So is this all right? So very quickly, quick stats about who uses AccessArt. What's great about AccessArt is that it doesn't end with the audience that look at the website. They go on then, and we know from our stats and our feedback, they go on then into the schools and into their gallery education programs and use it. So hopefully the effects ripple out. Whoops, how do I go back? Sorry, I don't. So quickly, what enables us to use technology? This is for us. This is coming from AccessArt, an independent organization, that we don't have necessarily the constraints working in a big gallery or a small gallery, so we appreciate that. But I think it is about embracing the fact that it is an open technology. It is all about being open and sharing, as Sheila's discussed. So that's how we have to use it. We have to embrace it and use it in that way. The ownership's really key. The only reason that we've been able to do any of the stuff that we've done is because we've taken ownership of it and we've kept it. We've kept ourselves. Oh, no minutes left. Do I have to stop now? Should we have a vote? Okay, yeah, key though, keep it yours. Be spontaneous. I think projects that are a long time in the planning, digital technology isn't about that anymore. Digital technology is about being quicker, literally, so be spontaneous. And embrace the fact that it's easy. I think we often make it hard, and it's not. It's actually easy. You have to be familiar with technology, but not necessarily skilled, and it is about being, embracing the ease. And then we were going to talk about barriers, and we've talked about them already. You know, what happens if you don't share? What happens if you do share? And also, just to say that actually the technology for us is second fiddle to people and content. And the last point, which I think is really important and we're not doing yet, is the fact that it is an increasingly visual world. You know, images on an iPad Retina are stunning. People want to be seduced by visually stunning images, and we're a visual group of people. And I still think, even AccessArt, I don't think we're being as visual as we should be and could be, and I think that applies to all Gowrie education.